Hi, my name's Andrea Pettingill, and the purpose of Shine Inside and Out is to inspire and motivate you to be your highest self by living authentically and creating balance and integrity in your relationship, work life, health, spirituality, mindset, and self-care. By interviewing passionate individuals who are shining brightly and living their purpose, Shine Inside and Out is creating unique conversations full of light and possibility as I invite others to share in suggesting usable tools and resources for today's conscious creators, holding a safe and exciting space to shine your unique brilliance unapologetically. Hello, this is Andrea Pettingill, creator of Shine Inside and Out, and welcome to today's conversation. I am so excited to introduce you to Ray Buttars, who I met locally here in Utah, and just was so thrilled and excited about his energy, his enthusiasm, his passion for all things life. And I am so excited to introduce you to him today. Whether by sharing his insight and experiences, or just by how he lives, Ray's ability to expand vision and awaken brilliance in others as an executive mentor, author, consultant, and speaker is powerful. Ray is a state champion athlete. This Idaho farm boy has been amazingly successful in every aspect of his life, even coaching basketball. He's been a banker, chairman of state and national organizations, working in the Western U.S. and Washington, D.C., and even a successful trade mission to Cuba. Professionals from every walk of life appreciate his professional insight and ability to guide individuals to personal empowerment. Ray is friendly and passionate. He loves to live life. Cycling keeps him in shape, along with skiing, snowboarding, water sports, hiking, horseback riding, and anything with a ball. Ray is an amazing person, and I'm so excited to bring his energy to today's conversation on Shine Inside and Out. So let's get right to it. Hi, this is Andrea Pettingill, and I'm here with Ray Buttars today, and we're going to jump right into our conversation today. Ray, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
As you know, I'm a farm boy from Idaho who has been lucky enough to have some adventures in life.
So you grew up in Idaho.
I did. Small farm, mom, dad, we all just pitched in and worked, and we milked the cows and watered the crops and hauled the hay and rode the horses and did what we had to do to try and make a living and go to church on Sunday.
I've met you and been very impressed with your story and what you're creating right now, and want to hear more about the book that you have and your business and what that's looking like for you right now. And tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, after college, I was all excited to climb the bank career ladder. And with that, success came in many different ways in many different areas, business and some ag entrepreneurship and executive positions, chairman and whatnot. Finally included a trade mission to Cuba. One day I'm standing on the third floor of my big overbuilt house and looking through the 5 floor-to-ceiling windows on my 160-acre home site and wondering why the hole in my soul. I've crossed all the T's, I've dotted all the I's, why the hole in my soul? And so that led me on a self-exploration journey, and I found that there are some keys in life that can unshackle us from that dungeon or hollow or empty feeling, because we get caught up in things that are important but not fulfilling. So I've had the opportunity now to share those keys with people, to work one-on-one using all of my background and my skills as well as my own epiphanies to help people think out loud, to expand vision, awaken them to their own brilliance, and especially to empower people to find a full life that is internally fulfilling and satisfying in a place that is very much the same and more successful in all areas financially, but in areas that really matter to the individual.
Awesome. Yeah. So what kind of, and just knowing that the audience watching might be interested in knowing, like, what does that kind of work look like for you, and what kind of experiences with clients are you having, and what kind of
ways are you communicating your message to people right now?
I do a lot of leadership training for businesses, whether it's emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, simple communication and listening skills. Those individuals in their fulfillment, a different way of being that includes free agency or free will, individual intuition, perpetual personal progress, and in the appropriate form, love, whether it's a one-on-one relationship or pursuing things that we're passionate about or really feel a love for our fellow being or whatever it is. Those 4 keys seem to be a path for unlocking those shackles that hold us down and keep us from being all we can be, to use that phrase.
Yeah. I love that you brought up your 4 keys, because we talked about this a little bit earlier before, and you have developed these 4 keys, and I'd love to get into that and kind of explain what they are and how that can help someone in that same kind of way.
There are, as I dove into my own epiphany and my self-introspection, I decided to dive in with what I had been raised with, which was just a very Christian background. And in that effort, I found 9 different belief systems that had at their roots these same principles or keys. And so that was very valuable to me, because the hole in my soul was, in a sense, spiritual, but I don't mean to speak that everything is religious either, because to me it's not. But the wholeness of one's life is what helps fill the soul. The hole in the soul, if we get stuck or shackled to these things that make us, we feel like we know we're doing what's right, but in our hearts, we know that something big is missing. So I dove in, started studying. I ended up studying from Christianity to the ancient Greeks, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Maori, the matriarchal Hawaiian belief system, the Aborigines, all over, Buddhists, Muslims, Hindus. And what I found was one of the first keys is free will or free agency. The power that is within each person to choose for themselves, even to choose to do something or not do something, the way, even if we're coerced, the way we approach being or living in that coerced state, even if we are a prisoner of war. And I have found that with taking accountability for our situation, we become empowered. And if we will recognize I get to choose, and if someone's manipulating me, I still get to choose to go along with what I am calling manipulation. And when I recognize that I get to choose, it's no longer manipulation.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
Because there are many of the professional women executives that I work with often feel that, and it's true, men will attempt to manipulate them either in a political or a business or professional setting, and even in personal relationship settings. And as we work through this and discuss the liberating, emancipating power of free will, it's very powerful. And I see women's postures change. I see them recognizing that from within there is a power and a strength that they have buried in an effort to find acceptance, when in actuality, acceptance occurs the other way around. As I accept and empower myself, others freely accept me and, in fact, are inspired by me to live their authentic lives.
So my question I have at the moment is, like, do you find that when you're working with clients who are experiencing this, but they don't recognize that that concept that you just said, do you find that they're stuck in a cycle of blame?
Yes, unquestionably. There is and this one can be painful to deal with if I'm working, especially one-on-one, and we jump in wholeheartedly. It's a little bit painful to recognize that I have to give up my victim status, because everyone, it seems, has compassion for victims. And, well, he made me do this, or he would this, or he would that if I didn't. All this manipulation and coercion that I'm suffering through. And when I work with that man or woman, but in this case we're talking about women professionals and executives and homemakers, when I simply reflect back to her, do you have choices? What else could you choose? Are there options? And we explore that, and yes, there are. What does it look like if? Those powerful questions are a little bit painful sometimes in recognizing I could have chosen differently through these past moments, whether 1 year or 1 day ago or 10 years ago. There are a lot of tears shed sometimes. But what we do is expand the personal vision. And by expanding that vision, it's literally taking blinders off power of choice and exercising that free agency.
Yeah.
That sounds scary, kind of, doesn't it?
No, I love, what I love about it is the expansion. It creates that openness and that possibility, because without that, what are we? We're just like, we are just trapped in our victim story. We're trapped in someone else. Outside circumstance has to change so that my life can get better. And when you flip it around to, I can choose and I can move forward, then you take that power back for yourself.
Absolutely. It is tremendously empowering. And I find it so interesting that you used the word trapped. That's a word I hear from clients very, very often. And many have felt trapped or shackled or imprisoned in a dungeon of a way of life that is very full but very unfulfilling. And it's so beautiful to see the vision open up and expand, because once that happens, not only do we see accountability, but we also see opportunity. And it literally is like clean air rushes in and fills our lungs, and we sit taller and life is more beautiful. And suddenly we're like, okay, I have all these more choices that I didn't realize I had, and the shackles have been removed. They just literally have fallen away. I feel like I can walk freely. I can move forward in my life. What shall I choose now? Which, of course, leads to that second key. I call it individual intuition. Some call it personal revelation. Some call it natural knowing. But it comes somehow, somewhere, in a kind of a spirit way into our physical being. For the Hawaiians, the matriarchal Hawaiians, they called it respect the na'au, the gut, trust the gut. Many like to say that burning in my heart, the burning in the bosom. Others say it's that still small voice that's talking to that third eye, the pineal gland in our heads. Whatever it is, a person feels at peace with that natural knowing, with that individual intuition from whatever our higher power, or our source, or our God, or whatever that is. That connection is our natural knowing, which guides us. And even if we have something difficult to go through, and that's our choice, and that's what feels right, it comes without fear. Mothers many times have this mother's intuition. They know how to respond or what to do to care for their child. And it might be difficult, it might be challenging, even literally as difficult and challenging as life-risking labor and delivery is. A mom often goes into that without fear, knowing that is the path she wants to go down, and it's going to result in so many wonderful things. I call it awakening to the brilliance. I mean, if there is anything more brilliant than bringing life onto the world, I don't know what it is. But realizing that as a woman, she has that power and that ability and strength from within is is empowering, and it excites. So literally 100% of everyone I've worked with feels empowered knowing that they have done or can do the miracle of childbirth.
Yeah.
And
I
so
hear
the
that
rest,
a lot. Yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
hear that so much. Like I'm not a mother yet, but just and it relates perfectly to what you're talking about as far as creating your life that you want. And sometimes I think women we don't realize that you can have that that intuition and that ability and that power to bring a child into this world, and that same power can be used to create massive things in your life that you are hoping to create and bring forth.
yes, beautifully said. I've heard that as we work through these processes with so many of my clients. That same excited, light way of phrasing that you just did is exactly what I hear, and that's what motivates me and inspires me to work with everyone. Is I love to see that awakening occur. It's so funny because once we start down the free agency, free will, natural knowing, individual intuition path, there are sometimes a need for the third key, and that perpetual personal progress has to occur through two things: forgiveness and gratitude. Forgiveness and gratitude for our experiences and our choices and the people in our lives, no matter who, how, or what they were, whether enjoyable or painful. Because we learn from our experiences, whether they're positive, negative, good or bad, right or wrong, and we often put a label on them, which is unnecessary. If we will remove the label and simply choose again the next day, I can be better today and choose better for my wholeness today than yesterday. And tomorrow I will have the opportunity to choose again. And when I am grateful for the experiences, whether pleasurable or painful, I recognize with my free will, with my intuition, I can choose again today. I can choose again tomorrow. It's so liberating. And I actually feel free rather than feeling judged or condemned by myself or fear of the judgment or condemnation that's coming from others, whether it's in a relationship or in my community, my local culture. Liberating.
Yeah. And I think, and I want to touch back again on the forgiveness piece that you brought up, because one of the things that has helped me to feel liberated as far as moving forward past the fear of rejection, the fear of judgment from others, is a practice of forgiveness. And I say a practice because it is not something you do once. It is something that you implement regularly, because we are always interacting with other human beings, right? And so
Yes.
when we have a practice of regular, whatever it looks like as far as forgiveness and just allowing others to be who they are and not judging and moving past any interactions that cause emotional conflict. And so I wanted to ask you, how do you, in working with your clients in bringing up this topic of forgiveness, it can be a tough topic, especially when people have never really brought that into a practice in their day-to-day life, and maybe they might feel a very heavy sense of justification in wanting to stay in the same situation with a person and not move through into understanding and forgiveness. So how do you communicate to your clients in that way?
You are asking a question that everyone, literally everyone, asks. And oftentimes it is because we have been in this state so long that we have found comfort there. We're used to being there, and others are used to us being there. But the thing about forgiveness, and we all seem to understand forgiveness, but that understanding does no good. It's not a prize at all. Instead of understanding forgiving or being forgiving or forgiveness, just be forgiving to myself, be forgiving to others, and I don't have to understand anything. And it doesn't mean that what happened was right or okay or or is forgotten about. It means just recognize that I can give and live my life as I did before. I may choose to not have a person as in my life as a big of part of my life as it used to be. It might be a smaller portion. I might enlarge how much I am engaged in a relationship with that person, or I might eliminate it altogether. I can still be peaceful. I can still be forgiving and be grateful for the experiences that I had that taught me how I want to live, how I want to be, and let the other person make their own choices with their own free will, their own intuition, and their own forgiveness. One of the most powerful things I did for myself was forgive another man who had inflicted a lot of pain on me. I expressed an apology to him and asked for his forgiveness for me withdrawing and insisting that he apologize before I would forgive him. I was withholding my forgiveness. And you know what? I was imprisoned by that. It was so liberating to just go and say, hey, I want to apologize. I'm sorry for not being the way I want to be. And a big hug, and we shed tears, and he couldn't fathom that I could forgive him. And it was so liberating when I forgave him, even though he had never apologized or anything for years of mistreatment. Now, therein is the irony. I had chosen to remove myself from that relationship, but I was still knotted up in my stomach and in my head over, well, I was treated wrongly, and therefore, and I found that it left in my heart a vacancy. And I was not moving forward in relationships with other people, men and women, that I could have. I hope that,
Yeah.
not to get too long in the answer there.
Well, that exactly. And like, I love how you brought up that it left a vacancy. And sometimes in an opposite perspective, I like to teach it to my mentoring clients that it creates it's the law of the parking lot in your mind. Like there's all these parking spaces, but you can't bring in, it's like someone's taking up a space in your mind, and you can't bring in new relationships unless that person is cleared away and out of your thoughts, and that space is opened up for new relationships and new people to come into your life, because this person is like heavy on your mind. Even if you don't talk to them anymore, they are just the interaction is clouding your ability to connect and bust through that emotion that was stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And to have more relationships and more stuff coming into your life.
I love the metaphor, the parking space. Another one that sometimes works, and I hope that it resonates, we also become emotionally constipated. And we can't have nutritious relationships and emotional experiences because we're all knotted up inside with that thing that we will not let pass and be gone.
I love that you brought that up, because in my new blog post that's coming out, it's about, are you in control of your emotions? And I think what we buy into as a story in the world right now is that being in control of your emotions is not letting them change you, is like, and it's that, see that tightness, that constipation, that like, oh, I'm not going to let that sadness come through, or I'm not going to let that anger, see how I'm in control. And the opposite is true, is the growth opportunity here is that when you experience the emotion and really feel that forgiveness, let that in, heal the relationship, go to that place with that person, and go to that vulnerable place, which is it's a challenge for a lot of people. It clears you out, right?
It does. It's funny, as you continue that same thought, the fellow that it was nearly 3 years ago that I went and apologized for not, for closing off and I'm not going to be, and you owe me an apology. Since then, I have been able to professionally and physically perform better. And by that, I mean completing a 70-mile Ironman triathlon.
Wow.
Those kinds of things for a guy my age are incredible, but it freed me up to be able to physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually accomplish so much more. And I was holding on to it. And I am so grateful for that experience now, because it has taught me how I want to be in so many ways and how I don't want to be, both with or like that fellow in my relationships with other men, and in a, sometimes guys can be mean to each other as well as mean to women. And guys can just be mean sometimes.
So.
But many of us wonder, well, if I forgive, then that means it hasn't happened, or where to go with that, and I'm not valued as a being. Oh, no, the opposite is true. I value myself as a being when I don't let, as you said, that experience take up space in the parking lot of my heart, my soul, my mind, my emotions, and it's vacated. Yeah. When I do that, I am also showing love for myself, which love is the fourth key. Being a farm boy and rough and tough, and this is how men are supposed to be, as I was doing my introspection, my study, my audit on myself that I talked about when I was in the big house and the third floor and all that material wealth that I had, love was weird because, okay, what does that mean exactly? Is that the mushy stuff, and where does that go? And as I was studying the Greeks, I found they had 4 words that we use one word for. With the Greeks, love can be eros, which is romantic love between a couple. That's obviously easy understood, and that's an important part of life, especially in a relationship of a loving couple. The second is storge, which is like, I love my mom, I love my dad, I love my brother, my sister, my dog. The third kind of love is philia. The city of Philadelphia is named after brotherly love. I love my country, that sort of thing. And the fourth is agape. And that agape is the love for something, a passion about something, or whether it's my career or my life. Or for me, I have my leadership trainings in my consulting business, and I help business people do business better. And that's fun, and that's a blast, and it's very rewarding. But what I really have an agape for, that passion, that, yes, I can't wait to help, is like what we're talking about now, of the liberating and enabling others to liberate themselves and expand their life and find fulfillment and joy in whatever it is. To share these 4 keys and how it emancipates, liberates, escapes from the trap of life is what I love to do. And that's why I'm so grateful for you, Drea, to give me this opportunity to share with others.
I love that. I love learning the different words for love, and I relate to you so much, because in my business right now, I'm trying to decide where it fits in, but my, maybe it's eros, like the romantic, because I have this like artistic side of me that loves the art of nails, and so to me, I'm like, I have that part, but like I have this agape, this more passion for mentoring and leading people in becoming their next greater version of themselves, and remembering their truth and who they are and letting that shine. And so I definitely have that, like, oh, I love working in the salon with my clients, and it's so fun to meet these amazing people, because there are some really cool people that are in the community that come and I get to interact with. And then I love the art of it, but I also love the deeper connection of when I have my mentoring clients who have that aha experience, like you talk about, like just that creating that, holding that space with them. I'm sure you understand that, just like uplifting each other, and you leave and you're both so much more fulfilled and so excited about life and creating.
Yes. I'm excited to hear you say that, because you literally, in your migration or path of life the last few years, you have found for yourself these same 4 keys. And in living them, I'm looking at you right now. You're light, you're bright, you're full and peaceful and joyful. And then as we share our gifts with others who are on this similar path of their own exploration, of their own discovery, wow, it's beautiful. And therefore, love in those 4 ways seems to fit.
Yes, I love it. Well, I'm excited for, I'm sorry, my computer's doing something funny, so it's distracting me. I loved the opportunity to talk to you today, and I just wanted to wrap up with reviewing your 4 keys. And I want to make sure that the listeners and viewers get an opportunity to know how to contact you and how to find out more about you. And so we talked about your 4 keys, and the first one is free will. Is that correct?
Yes.
So just to review, free will. The second one is individual intuition and letting that guidance come in.
Yes.
The third one was personal like progress. So forgiveness, gratitude, having that practice. Is that, I communicate that right?
I like to call it perpetual.
Oh, that was the word. Perpetual personal progress.
Because a lot of people want to achieve perfection today. And that belief is so frustrating. So it's better today than yesterday, better tomorrow than today. It's a perpetual journey. Life is a journey.
I love that, because I am a recovering perfectionist, and a lot of people are. And maybe it has to do with my industry as a nail artist. Like, we crave perfection, but that stops us from growth every time, is when we get stuck on the perfection. And even in learning mentoring tools and moving forward with my growth, I've implemented new practices into my life, and I'm like, I have to meditate for an hour every day. And then if I can't find an hour, I just can't. And then you don't progress. So I had to go back and learn that 5 minutes is better than an hour if I do nothing at all, And so my new mantra, that I love, is what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. And so those little things build up and become big things. And so perpetual personal progress. I love that, Ray. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And of course, the 4th key is love, in whichever of those 4 Greek words applies.
Will you run through the words again so we can remember them?
For love, eros, which is romantic love with my companion, my sweetheart, whoever she or he might be, married couple, that kind of thing, eros. And then the second one is storge, which is family love. I love my mom, my dad, my dog, my brother, my sister. Philia, like the city of Philadelphia, is brotherly love. I love my country. I love my fellow man here on earth. And then the 4th is agape, that passion, that enthusiasm, that zeal for whatever it is that it just burns and inspires me and motivates me. And it's usually something that sets an example, inspires, or lights the fire for our fellow beings. That is so powerful to me that literally, as I've lit my own fire, found my own agape, it is ironically lighting the same fire for the same way with other people to then go help theirs. And there's this Christian admonition, when thou art converted or found your agape, strengthen thy brethren or sisters. And I love that passage. When you find your fire, let it burn and light the fire of your fellow beings. It's so powerful.
I love that one. I'm writing that down. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ray, for this amazing, insightful just connection of so many tools and so many things that we can implement into our lives. I really appreciate your time and being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. So go ahead, Ray, and tell us how, if anyone's interested in contacting you or seeing more of your work, of what you do. I know you're an author and you go and you do presentations.
I do consulting, leadership training, group trainings with businesses, but also keynote speaker, luncheon speaker, and I work one-on-one. I work with everyone from ages 18. I've got to my oldest client is 68, whether it's career or life mentoring, and helping them or facilitating their own enlightenment, because the answers do come with their own intuition. But sometimes it's grateful or helpful to think out loud with someone who kind of has a template to follow. So I do that. The easiest way to get hold of me is to obviously call me or email me. The number and the email address are on my website, Ray, R-A-Y, Buttars, B-U-T-T-A-R-S, raybuttars.com. Easy to find. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and just find Ray, R-A-Y, Buttars, B-U-T-T-A-R-S.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ray. And I hope to do this again and create more insightful conversations like this. Thank you for your time today.
It's an honor. Thank you, Drea.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Shine Inside and Out. I hope you enjoyed Ray Buttars as much as I do, and I hope you took a lot out of Ray's 4 keys to having permission to live. For more information about Ray, you can click the link below, and I invite you to please subscribe to my channel and sign up on my website to get my free CD, Confidence by Design. And I can't wait to talk to you later in the next episode of Shine Inside and Out. Thank you so much. Go shine today.